Okay, we're live. This is Zara Lou, the Comedy Vixen, live here, Q&A live with Jasmine, Dionique Designs.
Hi.
So, Jasmine, tell everyone where you're from.
It seems like such a difficult story. So long story short, I was born in Wisconsin. Um, I guess technically grew up in Chicago. I am currently located here in Atlanta.
Okay, okay. Now, when did you first get your aspirations for fashion?
So it actually wasn't fashion. It was art. So
Okay.
when I was younger, it really clicked. I saw my mom draw a picture, and now that I'm older, I'm not really sure it was even that great.
Okay.
But I thought it was. Um, so it really stemmed from art. I really look at fashion as another form of art. Um, but I used to make clothes out of socks for my dolls when I was younger, like cutting up stuff. I probably wasn't supposed to be cutting up. So I just looked at it all as art.
All right. So, it's still the beginning of the year. What were two of your biggest accomplishments in 2020?
I tried to forget 2020, so it's, it's hard to even. I think a lot of people tried to forget 2020. Um, but even so, it had its, every year has its good and its bad. I don't really remember anything in particular, like, oh my God, that was, I usually just try to um, focus on the goal at hand. And sometimes it doesn't even have to do with fashion per se.
Mm-hmm.
I do, I have a lot of other things going on. I do also have degrees in other things, but what I do try to do with accomplishing a goal is to always tie them back in together. Um, so it might not have been something that seems like it relates to fashion, but in my
I mean, it
head,
doesn't
it's,
have to. A goal is a goal because it still builds,
yeah,
your character, your day to day operations.
yeah. So, well, recently I graduated from real estate school.
Mhm.
And so I guess
Congratulations.
thank you. And so to tie that back into fashion, I eventually hope to have my own creative space. So being in that industry, hopefully I'll be able to find a space soon.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So, at what point did you become the face of your brand? And we're specifically talking about fashion because we're just learning about your new ventures into real estate and other endeavors that you haven't mentioned. So,
Um, as far as fashion, I guess it's not really an exciting story. Um, I really just got tired of um, like people don't realize, people think these photo shoots and like creating content and all that stuff is just like, oh, taking a picture, and it's really not. If you're actually putting the time and the effort into it, the stuff takes a lot of time, work, and energy from not just one person but a group of talented people. um,
okay.
so I just kind of got tired of not everybody not pulling their own weight. So I just slowly started eliminating people and just putting more work and effort into it and doing things myself.
Right,
Um,
right.
so I guess maybe that's why you might see me as the face of it. I know I was willing to put in the work and I couldn't speak for anybody else. So
Okay.
that's what I
So,
did.
tell me, who was your very first major client that really represented the unique designs?
Oh, my first client. I've been doing this so long. It's like,
I mean,
but
just a client where people, you say the name, people should be familiar, depending on if it's a certain area, like anyone that you felt like really represented your brand to the fullest.
um, I guess because I'm a fashion designer, but I'm also a stylist. So I think more of when I started styling and doing like music videos. Um, Here in Atlanta, I was doing music videos for Princess from Crime Mob. I also had another client, but um, just working in the fashion industry, not just as a fashion designer, as a stylist, I also had a major client who I literally sat around all day and altered her clothes for her. Um, just so that they fit. So doing seamstress work and stuff like that. She
Sure.
was another big client. So it's not always necessarily fashion as in fashion design.
Mhm.
Um, I do all things related to fashion. So um, those probably were two of my bigger clients, um, and stuff like that. I hope to do more work though in the music industry as far as working with artists or up and coming artists.
So, what would be some of the first events you would like to go to once the world opens back up? I mean, some areas are different. I know you're down in Atlanta, you'll have more going on. Where would you like to go once everything opens back up?
Um, it's so crazy because me and my best friend, we had this whole, major plan this year planned out. We were going to do all kind of events. Um, I think is it the booth was one of them. Um,
Oh, you mean the pop up shop you're planning on? Or was
no,
it,
like just going to actual events or events that I want to do.
well, just events around the world or, whatever you had in mind? As soon as the world opens back up, would be your go to for your brand?
Um, but I mean, as doing fashion, you can really kind of just network anywhere. So I just want to travel and go to events. I know it's that event at Voove, I think it is.
Hmm.
That is like in New York, I think in LA and different ones like that. I love events where you can kind of just, you know, get dressed up and, be who you are. Um,
Are you referring
when
to the sneaker ball that you go to every year?
No, I also that
Okay.
they actually just had one in Atlanta. It was of course there's different little guidelines and rules. Um no, but the sneaker ball, the one in Chicago, is really big. I love events like that where you can kind of express yourself through fashion. Um and get all dressed up. And it's people from all different walks of life or whatever and different careers and backgrounds or whatever. But everybody just expresses themselves through their, you know, fashion and stuff like that. And it's kind of like a conversation starter in itself. And then you can introduce yourself as such, as a designer or stylist or whatnot. But um, just traveling, probably, I think once the world opens up, everybody will probably feel like they're free.
Yeah,
So
I
just
agree.
traveling in general would be good.
Yeah. So tell me about at least your top five influencers. Doesn't have to always be fashion related. Anybody has influenced you as a person.
Um,
You don't have five, give me at least two or three. If you have those, give me.
I mean, I guess it's different. Of course, as a person, you always have like your mother and my grandmother and stuff like that. But currently, I don't know. I kind of draw like inspiration from everywhere. So, as far as um, like style goes, I really like Monica and Rashida.
Okay. Okay.
So their influence and their style is always seems to be um, on point to me. I guess some of the newer artists, as far as their little swag goes,
Okay. Okay.
light skin Keisha, she's super cute. Mulatto,
Mm-hmm.
um, things like that. I mean, if you're going back into like just as far as top influence, you have of course like icons like Michael Jackson, and he always had a different type of swag, um, as far as how he did things, not even just fashion. Um, so things like that, or people
Okay.
like that.
What words of encouragement would you give people interested into doing styling or any type of fashion art as well as designing clothing? What advice would you give them?
Just being in the fashion industry, like I say, I really consider myself an artist. So you really have to have a love and a passion for it. People think nowadays, like you can call yourself a stylist because you can go and buy designer and name brand stuff, but it's supposed to be more of a creative passion to it, not just, you know, mannequin dressing. Like, okay, you go to the store and you see that on the mannequin, you're like, give me that, and put it on somebody, and you're like, I styled them. Like, that's, not how it goes. It's really supposed to be a
Right.
creative process of it.
Right.
I literally shop from everywhere, from thrift stores to, high-end stores. And then sometimes I even make things. I take things apart, put them back together. I mean, because I do know how to sew, and reconstruct them. But just any advice, like it's really supposed to be an art form. It's supposed to be, creative. So if you have a love for it, a passion for it, then definitely go for it. And don't think that you have to have a lot of money either to start or do any of these things, because technically you're supposed to be an artist. So as an artist, you're supposed to create from whatever materials that you have.
Okay. All right, Jess. Well, tell us where we can check out Dionique Designs or find you if they want to connect in reference to any new adventures that you have as well. What social media plugs would you like to give?
So the website is www.dionique.com, and Dionique is Dionique. Um, Instagram is Dionique_design with an S at the end. And I believe Facebook and Snapchat, they are all the same.
Okay.
Give or take, give or take an underscore, but
All
Dionique
right.
is Dionique.
Okay. So, anything else you'd like to add before we wrap things up?
No, thank you for having me. It's super
You're welcome.
exciting.
Glad you gave us some of your time. Seems like you're in between transitioning, going here and there.
Yes, I'm running around doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Gym, you know, while you got your quarantine time, taking your self care and take care of yourself. So,
Okay.
um, but I definitely thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We're definitely gonna catch up with you probably later on the year. Maybe do some in person things depending on what COVID restrictions we have. Okay.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. This is Zora the Comedy Vixen. Thank you all for tuning in. This is Q&A Live with Jasmine from Dionique Designs.